Luke chapter 16 verses 1 through 13. Though our Lord Jesus Christ was rich, he became poor, so that by his poverty you might become rich. Jesus said to his disciples, a rich man had a steward who was reported to him for squandering his property. He summoned him and said, "What is this I hear about you? Prepare a full account of your stewardship, because you can no longer be my steward." The steward said to himself, "What shall I do, now that my master is taking the position of steward away from me? I am not strong enough to dig and I am ashamed to beg. I know what I shall do so that, when I am removed from the stewardship, they may welcome me into their homes." He called in his master's debtors one by one. To the first he said, "How much do you owe my master?" He replied, 100 measures of olive oil." He said to him, "Here is your promissory note. Sit down and quickly write one for 50. Then to another the steward said, "And you, how much do you owe?" He replied, 100 cores of wheat. The steward said to him, "Here is your promissory note, write one for 80. And the master commended that dishonest steward for acting prudently. For the children of this world are more prudent in dealing with their own generation than are the children of light. I tell you, make friends for yourselves with dishonest wealth, so that when it fails, you will be welcomed into eternal dwellings. The person who is trustworthy in very small matters is also trustworthy in great ones, and the person who is dishonest in very small matters is also dishonest in great ones. If, therefore, you are not trustworthy with dishonest wealth, who will trust you with true wealth? If you are not trustworthy with what belongs to another, who will give you what is yours? No servant can serve two masters. He will either hate one and love the other, or be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and mammon. Recently there was a scandal focused on a congressman who helps to write the tax laws for the United States. He was exposed as one who cheated on his own taxes. Other representatives commented that they didn't see a problem, everyone does it. In other words, the only crime committed was that he was caught, not that he had cheated. In today's reading we see a steward, just like the congressman, who had the power to control large amounts of wealth yet, failed in his responsibility, and failed the trust given to him. In the last verse we read, "You cannot serve God and mammon." Mammon is an Aramaic word, the language of Jesus and the apostles, which means wealth and or property. As Christians we now live in the present, or temporary world, and live in the hope we will enter the eternal world. Both worlds have standards that are very different. Many in this world consider money to be their God. Many in this world consider that doing God's will is the best course to follow in the time we have left in this temporary world. The dishonest steward used his authority over the master's money or assets in order to make friends with other disreputable individuals. He was a man of limited vision, he was only concerned with the here and now, not in the eternal world to come. The dishonest steward was doing the devil's work by involving others in his corrupt business dealings. As he led these people into the sin of defrauding his employer, while doing so, he totally overlooked what God would think of such actions. Does verse 13 mean that you cannot serve God and be successful with money? Certainly not. History has shown many who have acquired huge sums of money and property, at the same time have been wise stewards of the money which God had allowed them to make. They donate to the poor, the needy, the homeless, set up hospitals whose mission is helping those less fortunate. What then does the verse mean? It means your first priority should be focused on God and doing God's will. If you place God in the first position in your life, all else will fall in line. If you place wealth and property in the first position, you will have turned your back on God. Ask yourself what's important, God or wealth? God is eternal, wealth belongs to this temporary world. Whoever is careless with the truth in small matters cannot be trusted with important matters. Albert Einstein.